and a very warm welcome. This is the India Today Political Stock Exchange, and on this special broadcast over the next 1 hour, I will get you an all India anti-incumbency grid, which will help establish where is the Prime Minister most popular, where are voters least satisfied with the performance of the Prime Minister, in which state are MPs most popular, in which state is dissatisfaction with MPs running high. This will give us some insights into where MPs are in big trouble. In states where the level of unpopularity is very high, the chances of MPs suffering losses in the elections in April and May, very high. So some very, very fascinating insights and data sets coming up on the India Today group, Access My India Political Stock Exchange. I want to introduce our guests joining us for this broadcast. I want to start with Sanjay Kumar, the lead cephalogist at CSDS. Flanking him is our National Affairs Editor Rahul Srivastav. With us is Yashwant Deshmukh, lead cephalogist for Sea Voter. With us also on this broadcast, representing the Bharatiya Janata Party, Amit Malviya, representing the Congress, Sanjay Jha, and from Jain University in Bengaluru, we've got our political pundit, Sandeep Shastri. So welcome to all our guests. Let's dive straight into it. We will show you first the states where the Prime Minister is most popular. So on a map of India, and I'll take it one by one, this is the level of satisfaction. Where did respondents tell us that they are most satisfied with the Prime Minister? When you see the level of satisfaction, I just want to explain to our viewers, this includes those who say they are fully satisfied and those who say they are partially satisfied, but in some sense they say they are satisfied. And when you see dissatisfaction, that will include those who say they are completely dissatisfied and partially dissatisfied. Just to make it simpler and easier to understand, we'll break it up in this fashion. So Sikkim, but that's not a very important state electorally for the Bharatiya Janata Party, but that's where the Prime Minister's popularity is highest. After that is Himachal Pradesh. Now again, Himachal Pradesh, a relatively smaller state, but here the Prime Minister's popularity phenomenally high. Then there is Arunachal Pradesh. Now Arunachal Pradesh again, a relatively smaller state, just 2 seats there. Then there is Orissa. Now this is interesting. This is the first interesting point coming up. Amongst the states of some electoral significance, it's in Orissa where the Prime Minister is rated as being most popular, suggesting that there could be some ferment there, some trouble for the Biju Janata Dal of Naveen Patnaik, the BJP likely to make some inroads into Orissa. Then we'll get our pundits to explain how deep they believe those inroads can be. Then there is Rajasthan. Now this is very consequential because in December, the BJP suffered major losses. Now amongst all the states in North India, it is Rajasthan which says that voters are most satisfied with Prime Minister Modi. A very significant takeaway here for the BJP because they did rather poorly in Rajasthan in the assembly elections. Then there is Tripura. The BJP rules Tripura at this time, so they are benefiting from the presence on the ground. But again, comparatively speaking, a small state. Then there is Assam. Now in Assam, and this is interesting because in Assam there's been this whole agitation around the Citizenship Amendment Bill. There was a sense that there'd be some kind of a backlash against the BJP. But at this moment, respondents in the Access My India Today data telling us that they are satisfied at the level of 64% with the Prime Minister's performance. From there we go to Uttar Pradesh, and this is the most important state for the Bharatiya Janata Party because if here 63% respondents are saying they're either completely satisfied or partially satisfied, that's relatively speaking good news because you got strong popular appeal for the Prime Minister showing up in high popularity on the ground in Uttar Pradesh. From Uttar Pradesh, there's Gujarat, which is the Prime Minister's home state, 26 seats there. In Madhya Pradesh as well, the Prime Minister at 63. So both in Gujarat and in Madhya Pradesh, relatively the same number of respondents telling us that they are satisfied with the Prime Minister. Then there is Haryana. This is important because the state government in Haryana isn't coming across as being very popular. But when it comes to the Prime Minister's own performance, people saying they view the government well. Then Uttarakhand, again, a hill state, small state, 62% of the respondents liking the performance of the Prime Minister. Karnataka, crucial because here the Congress and the JDU are in power, but respondents saying they like what Narendra Modi has done. Finally, Jharkhand at 61%. Okay, so let me get opening comments from our guests. I'll start with Sanjay Kumar. What's important is there's Orissa there at 67%. There's Rajasthan where the BJP lost. There's Assam where we thought there's a backlash. And there is Uttar Pradesh, where the BJP really needs to do well. What do you make of the states where the Prime Minister is most popular? Sanjay Kumar.
I am not surprised with this data that Prime Minister is very popular in Assam, Orissa. We have shown the Rajasthan. That's a fact. We have been looking at this data from over a period of time. We kept hearing that there is some decline in the popularity of Prime Minister over last 6 months. But again, I think it is on the rise, and clearly this is all going to benefit BJP. BJP can be cornered in UP only because there is an alliance. But in Assam or in Rajasthan, even though BJP has been voted out of power in Rajasthan, I would say BJP has a very huge upper hand in Rajasthan compared to Congress.
Okay. Yashwant Deshmukh, you maintain similar tracking data across states. Is this broadly in keeping with the data that you're picking up? And also, very interestingly, in Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, where the BJP got voted out as recently as December, voters are telling us that they're rather satisfied with the performance of the central government and the Prime Minister.
It's pretty much in sync with our tracker. In the last 1 year, when in the 3 states when we were doing the tracker for the 3 assembly elections over there, all along every week we have been finding that people were actually angry or voting out the BJP government, but their satisfaction with the Prime Minister remained at large, quite high. And also the question within the same survey, whenever we asked whom would you vote for in the assembly election, whom would you vote for if the parliamentary elections were held today, almost there was 10 to 15 point gap between the voting intention of the voter, same voter in the same sample survey for almost a year every day, that there 10 to 15 point more votes for the BJP on the Lok Sabha voting intention than the assembly voting intention. So it's pretty much in sync and in line with our own tracker. In fact, I was just looking at the data of this week. At this point of time in our listing, the number 1 state is coming out as Jharkhand, where Modi's popularity is maximum, followed by Rajasthan, Goa, and almost like in the same way, Madhya Pradesh and so on and so forth.
Okay, Sanjay, Sandeep Shastri, this will give some respite to the BJP, despite having got voted out in Madhya Pradesh and in Rajasthan, despite not having a government in Karnataka, despite being electorally, relatively speaking, on a weak position in Orissa in past elections. This is where the Prime Minister's own popularity is ranked amongst the highest in the country, suggesting the BJP could do well regardless of what may have happened in recent assembly elections. Sandeep Shastri.
Rahul, I would largely agree with what Sanjay ji and Yashwant ji said, and take one point from each of them. Yashwant ji was very right in saying that 2019 elections, voters are going to vote very differently when it comes to state assembly election and a national election. I think there is enough evidence to show this. And I also would go with what Sanjay ji said about the fact that the Prime Minister's popularity in the states that you just now mentioned is reasonably high. However, I would add one caveat at this stage, which is, while conceding the fact that the Prime Minister is very popular and reasonably popular in a large number of states, we should not do the mistake of assuming that that will transfer itself into votes for the ruling party. The popularity of the question is on the popularity of the Prime Minister and not on the voting intention of an individual. And in states like Odisha, we have been seeing that the Chief Minister there is also reasonably popular. So I'm not too sure whether the popularity of a Prime Minister would necessarily translate itself in the same measure to vote for the party.
That's an important caveat that you build in. Sanjay Jha, this is disconcerting for the Congress because you won in Rajasthan, you won in Madhya Pradesh. Remember, Chhattisgarh is not here in that list. So Chhattisgarh is a different issue. But in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, where you formed governments, the Prime Minister is very popular according to the tracking data of the political stock exchange, suggesting that even though you have governments in the states here, you may not do quite as well as you did in the assembly elections during the Lok Sabha elections. Sanjay Jha.
See, Rahul, I really respect the panel, the survey that you have done. But please remember that in clubbing partially satisfied with the very satisfied, you could be actually more than charitable towards Narendra Modi, because partially satisfied, the other side of the coin is partially dissatisfied. So, you know, we can argue that out till the cows come home.
Partially dissatisfied is a different category,
very straightforward
and
here.
we're coming to that separately. Well, once again, Sanjay Jha, so that there is no confusion,
no, that's
dissatisfied and partially dissatisfied is a separate category, and in just a moment from now, I'm going to show our viewers where our voters most dissatisfied with the performance of the Prime Minister. But you can go on and make your point. Sanjay.
Yeah, my basic point was not on semantics, Rahul. As a student who has done a bit of statistics, partially satisfied, the other side of that coin is partially unsatisfied, if that's the term that you're more comfortable with. But let me answer your question. This is not 2014. And I'm not going to refer to pictures of Narendra Modi's rally, which has seen thinning crowds over the last campaigns that he's done, especially one that apparently he did today. But the larger issue is very simple, that this election is going to be fought on the issue of jobs, on rural distress, on the rising inflation, the overall social disharmony, the persecution and harassment of Dalits, minorities, and attacks on women. I think this is an issue which is going to be fought on social, economic issues, as an election ought to be, although the BJP is trying to divert attention. I'll give you a couple of examples. Even if you mention Northeast, now the feedback that we are getting is that the BJP is probably headed for a fairly spectacular collapse in the Northeast, and we know why. Even when you're talking about the states where the Congress won, please remember, and I agree with what Mr. Deshmukh mentioned, even in the state assembly when we were chatting together on your show, Modi always seemed to have a higher position because he's been the Prime Minister, he is all over the place, you know, he spends a lot of our money promoting himself, so he's got some degree of mind share. But ultimately, it didn't translate into votes.
Okay, Amit Malviya, respond to the point that Sanjay
lost in 70% of the places.
And Sandeep Shastri are both making, that the personal popularity of the Prime Minister need not translate into votes for the BJP. That while the Prime Minister said in Meerut and then in Rudrapur, don't worry about who your candidate is, vote for me. When you go out and cast your mandate, vote for me. He's saying that, but it's not necessarily that the voters process it in the same fashion. The popularity of the Prime Minister doesn't equal the popularity of the BJP or a vote for the BJP. Amit Malviya, respond.
I'll make 3 quick points. First, that you have shown the Prime Minister as being popular in states where the BJP is not in power. Now that really tells you about the disaffection that people in the states have with the Congress governments there. And that also has a spillover effect. Point number 2, you repeatedly spoke about Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, but for the benefit of your viewers, let me say this, that both Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, the Congress is actually running a minority government, and despite the anti-incumbency that we had, they were not able to dislodge us comprehensively. That should tell you how weakened the Congress's organization in these states is. The third very important point, Rahul, is that if somebody argues that the Prime Minister's popularity would not translate into votes, then I don't know what will. I just heard Yashwant say that in his own poll, the Prime Minister was tracking higher than the state leadership. And if the gap has been as large as 10 to 15%, then there is no way that is not going to translate into votes. And lastly, this election is about Mr. Modi, his term in the office, what he has brought to this country, how he has changed the lives of people. And Mr. Modi is now on the campaign trail. He is appealing to the people to give him another term in the office so that he can do all that he set in the motion. And I see no reason, even looking at your data, why that would not happen, and the people would not back Mr. Modi.
When we were doing the speech analytica earlier, we saw that the Prime Minister was saying, vote for me. This is a vote for me. Amit Malviya and the BJP naturally hoping that the Prime Minister's individual popularity translates into votes for the BJP. But Sandeep Shastri is an important point. If that were the case, then in so many states, almost 60% would vote for the BJP, and we know that that is not true. So some of those who like Prime Minister Modi won't necessarily end up voting for the BJP.
Rahul, that's why Prime Minister Modi is making the battle him versus the rest. The idea of having a presidential kind of election is that he is the center. So his popularity should not come in conflict with the dispopularity of the candidate or the other local factors. People vote for him or vote against him. Now, very interestingly, in this embedded is a message. Out of these states which we are talking about, 8 are against the Congress. Now, given that it is a Congress versus him battle, high popularity of Narendra Modi is an interesting element for them. It is UP and others is a problem. Rajasthan definitely hope for the BJP, as he was saying, because it seems now that if Modi is popular, the vote was against Vasundhara. Similarly, in Madhya Pradesh, perhaps a vote against the unpopular MLAs in that state. Odisha, for example, Naveen Patnaik never shows prime ministerial aspirations, so there is virtually no Congress there, so prime minister gets popular. I think a lot of message on which the BJP can work on, but the basic underline remains that Modi has to raise the battle to a level where he is taller and the lone one among others.
So let me just flip this equation now. We've shown you so far where is Prime Minister Modi most popular. I will now show our viewers, if you look at a national aggregate, where is the Prime Minister's popularity the lowest? Where are people least satisfied with Prime Minister Modi? Coming up right on top is Kerala, which is bad news for Messrs Modi and Shah, because they were hoping to make inroads into Kerala thanks to their big Sabrimala campaign. That doesn't seem to be working on the ground, it seems. And this is one of RSS's pet peeves. The RSS organization is amongst the strongest in Kerala, yet 72% of the respondents say they don't like the Prime Minister's work. The next is Tamil Nadu, where you're seeing unpopular plus unpopular equal to a greater level of unpopularity. There is disaffection with the state government, with the MPs. The BJP is not liked as well. So it's actually just a coalition of unpopular parties coming together. That's going to be a big problem in Tamil Nadu. Then there is Puducherry, but Puducherry is a small state. So let's just go straight up to Punjab. There is Punjab, where the BJP would have hoped that they'd do well. The Congress is entrenched there. It seems that's working well. The Prime Minister's popularity, the unpopularity is quite high. After Punjab, there is Andhra Pradesh. And remember, in Andhra Pradesh, the TDP has been running a constant campaign against the BJP, saying that Narendra Modi let down the state on the issue of the special status. So Andhra Pradesh is again a major area of concern. After this, there's Meghalaya. 48% people say they don't like the Prime Minister's work. Then there is Goa. Lots of khichdi there, lots of confusion post the unfortunate demise of Chief Minister Manohar Parrikar. There is Chhattisgarh, where there is genuine disaffection with the BJP because it was seen in December. It continues even now. Chhattisgarh amongst the states where people really don't like what the government has done. Then there is Delhi, which is interesting because they have 7 MPs in Delhi at this moment, and Delhi is amongst the states where the Prime Minister is least popular. That's not good news, especially if the Congress and AAP can come together. There is also Maharashtra, where 42% of the respondents say, and remember, his popularity was at about 70, 60. The level of dissatisfaction is much lower at about 40, but 40 again. Interesting that Maharashtra features amongst the states where the Prime Minister is not so popular, where dissatisfaction is high, and also Bihar, where the level of dissatisfaction with the government, relatively speaking, is high. So there's West Bengal, but West Bengal also is a very strong TMC bastion, and even though the BJP hopes to make inroads, West Bengal again amongst the states where the level of dissatisfaction, respondents say, is high. Sanjay Kumar, what do you make of the matrix of dissatisfaction? Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, it seems the south is going to be a bit of a rout for the BJP.
But BJP has never been...
That's a good point.
BJP has never performed very well in Kerala, Tamil Nadu. There is no stake for BJP in Kerala, Tamil Nadu and some other state. Andhra, we're talking about Andhra. So, yes, Prime Minister Modi's popularity is low because BJP is not seen as a party which is, gaining ground.
But they've been making a lot of noise.
Yes.
Thinking they'll make inroads. What this data suggests is that's not necessarily going to happen.
I think the most worrisome point for BJP would be the data in Maharashtra because they have a lot of stake in Maharashtra.
Bihar?
Bihar, because if you look at the data, we are saying least, because Bihar would come in the category of not...
It's not acute.
Popularity.
Dissatisfaction is not acute.
Dissatisfaction is not huge. It's about 42%, which is to say roughly about 50-55% people are satisfied with Prime Minister Modi's performance. So Bihar should not be a big concern. Bengal should not be a big concern because Bengal is also in that category, 41% dissatisfied, which is to say 50% are dissatisfied. So not a big concern for, I don't think BJP should be too worried about these.
Okay, so Sanjay Jha, that's a very good point that Sanjay Kumar makes, that what's not mine is not really mine to worry about. They were hoping to make inroads in Kerala, in Tamil Nadu, and Andhra Pradesh. The data suggests that may not happen in the way that they'd want. But the BJP is not really got too many MPs in those states. Where they've got the MPs, the Prime Minister is doing well. So where on the pitch that they are strong, they're batting well. On the pitch they hope to do well by batting over there, maybe they won't get as many runs.
But, you know, I don't quite agree with Sanjay Kumar here at all. I mean, look at Uttar Pradesh, right? I think you mentioned that Modi was reasonably popular in Uttar Pradesh. But you saw what happened in Haryana, Phulpur and Gorakhpur. Seats that were formidable bastions, by the way, for the BJP. With Yogi Adityanath and the Deputy Chief Minister actually being there in the 12 months of the honeymoon period, and the BJP lost. So, you know, clearly if you look at the aggregate votes by which they won and then their defeat, it was a massive swing against it. And by the way, these were Lok Sabha seats. They were not assembly. So they were a mandate on the central government. Let me also tell you, Maharashtra is very critical because it's the second largest state after Uttar Pradesh in terms of the number of seats. And I can tell you, our calculations tell us that the BJP will be lucky, extremely fortunate, if it were to touch even double-digit numbers out of the 132 seats in the south of India. So, you know, when Sanjay Kumar says, you know, these were never the place for the BJP, well, let me tell you the truth. They are going to see huge losses across the other parts of the country. And if you're not going to make up for the deficit where you are weak, well, let me tell you, it's pretty obvious that BJP is on its way down. And I therefore will repeat this with a lot of confidence, Rahul. India is seeing a non-NDA, non-BJP Prime Minister before the end of May 2019. The writing is on the wall.
What stands out in that is that in Chhattisgarh, they currently have 10 out of 11 seats. In Delhi, they have 7 out of 7 seats. Arguing over Tamil Nadu or Kerala, where the BJP stakes are limited, is one thing. But 7 seats and 11 seats, those are not insignificant. And if they suffer losses there, and it almost seems certain that they will, that's a problem. Then your count starts coming down.
Of course it is a problem. That's what in the daily tracker we are reporting it like that. You know, they are having a problem. That's why.
Where do you think their problems are most acute?
I think their biggest problem is Uttar Pradesh, and I'm saying this, and I am disagreeing with Sanjay Bhai on one. I mean, I'm talking about my friend, political Sanjay friend. Is that, you know, in Haryana or the bypolls, the 4 bypolls that we have seen, the BJP vote share did not go down. In Haryana, in fact, BJP polled more votes than what they polled.
And Haryana has never been a bastion of the BJP.
No, what I'm trying to say is that the BJP vote share in UP is not going down in any of our tracker. It is the arithmetic of the opposition vote which is stronger, and that is why we, in our tracker, we are only projecting the BJP seats in the 20s. I mean, we are showing a loss of even now almost a loss of 50 seats in our tracker. So I am agreeing with them.
Despite Pulwama,
you see, I can say 2 things. I mean, which one of them which will make Mr. Jha very happy, and one of which is not going to make him very happy. One is that, you know, me and Sanjay over here probably are the 2 guys who burnt our fingers in 2004, because even in 2004, Mr. Vajpayee's rating were almost on the similar lines in the 60s and the 70s of the approval ratings. So the approval ratings do not necessarily turn into votes. Let's face it, this is not a presidential election, it is a parliamentary election. Mr. Jha can be happy, and he can be arguably happy with that fact. But at the same time, there is a big change in the tracker which we are also monitoring between 2004 and 2019 is a big difference in the ball game, that the voters' mindset is becoming more and more presidential while going out to vote. This is why we are watching a split vote. Very essentially, when Mr. Shastri said that about the Orissa thing, all our tracker is reporting that CM is very popular and PM is very popular. So what you are going to see an extraordinary phenomenon, Rahul, on 23rd of May, and I'm sticking my neck out, that Orissa is most likely going to give a split verdict where Orissa CM is likely to get a majority in the floor of the Orissa Assembly, but BJP is likely to win majority of the Orissa Lok Sabha seat.
No, but
that kind of a
one second, I want to ask Sanjay Kumar if he agrees, because remember, this has happened in a state like Karnataka earlier, but in Orissa, it's one of our most impoverished, backward states. Will the voter have the finesse, upar koi, niche koi, vote for another party at the center, vote for another party at the state? Is that possible? Do you think that's likely?
No, I thought I should first clarify that we escaped burning our finger in 2004. We did not make any predictions. CSDS did not make any prediction. I am not saying that we have not, we went wrong in Chhattisgarh, we should accept that, but we escaped in 2004. In Orissa, we have seen in the past also, and in some other state, I think voter will make a distinction. And you can see Modi's popularity will help BJP increasing its tally in Orissa. When they are voting for the state assembly election, they might go in a big way with the ruling party in the state. But when it comes to voting for the Lok Sabha election, they would keep this in mind. I think that is going to loom very large on voters' mind to vote for Modi as the Prime Minister.
Okay, Rahul Srivastav, your sense of the states where the Prime Minister is most unpopular amongst the states where they've got stakes to worry about. There's Delhi, that's an important state, and there's Chhattisgarh where they're pretty much maxed out, and losses there will be problematic.
Delhi is not a problem, bro. I'm sorry.
See, what I will say that if you look at these unpopular states, a lot will depend on how united or how divided the opposition is. The story is, these are the states where the BJP didn't do very well, and I'd say Delhi and others, it did well, Maharashtra it did well. But for example, if TDP and YSR are fighting separately, there is somewhere scope for the BJP. For example, AAP and the Congress, if they come together, Punjab, Delhi and others, serious trouble for the BJP. JDU and BJP are together. So if we are talking about Modi being not so very popular, there's going to be an added equity because of Nitish Kumar coming in. He brings something to the alliance table. West Bengal, very critical, Rahul. Four-cornered contest is not going to help the Congress and the left.
Welcome back. You're watching the India Today, Access My India Political Stock Exchange. In part B of this program, we will look at the overall performance of members of parliament and show you states where voters tell us they are satisfied with their MPs and where voters tell us they are dissatisfied with their MPs. And where they are dissatisfied is very crucial because it can give you some suggestion of where MPs are likely to do badly if they are given another chance to contest. So let's start though with MPs being most popular, and I'll show you the states where MPs are most popular. Starting with Arunachal Pradesh, there are only 2 MPs. Kiran Rijiju happens to be one of them. Clearly, respondents in that state liking their work. Then there is Telangana, which is interesting because here there are a lot of TRS MPs, Telangana Rashtra Samiti MPs. 66% of the respondents seems to be satisfied with Telangana MPs, which is interesting because they're not even in government. They haven't really had an opportunity to do very much except sit in the opposition, but yet respondents seem to like what they're doing. So after that, there is Andhra Pradesh. Now this is important because here there is the TDP, and the TDP is generally perceived as being an unpopular government. However, the MPs seem to be rated fairly well. There is Himachal Pradesh, where the BJP dominated in the last Lok Sabha elections, where 60% of respondents like their MPs, 59% in Assam. In Assam, the BJP made inroads but didn't sweep in the way it swept some of the Hindi heartland states, but MPs are rated positively. Sikkim, Goa, Rajasthan, Karnataka, Meghalaya and Kerala. Kerala is interesting that here there is no BJP MP, but despite that, the MPs that there are MPs people seem to like. I want to go to Yashwant Deshmukh. You maintain similar data for C voter. How does it correspond with your data, and what do you make of the states where MPs are seen as being most popular?
Pretty much on the scenario, slightly up and down in that way, probably that in terms of that how cumulative the data is. But yes, Kerala MPs are quite popular. Telangana is popular. From the unpopularity perspective, for that was a thing which we reported, that BJP is facing a problem of plenty in UP, not because of that Prime Minister is not popular, PM is very popular.
Which is interesting that people like the PM, they don't like their MPs.
They don't like the MP, and BJP is unable to chop up the tickets of unpopular MPs, and that is going to be a headache for them. Probably they are realizing that, you know, the gap between the Congress and the MGB and the BJP vote share is very less. They don't want to take the risk of annoying the sitting
But
MPs.
you know, Amit Shah and Modi, Rahul Srivastav have shown lots of guts and gumption from their Gujarat days of changing candidates en masse. They've done it, but in the ticket distribution we've seen so far, they've largely gone with the MPs that they've had. They haven't done too much pangabazi.
The UP is so disappointing in that way. When I look into the data of the MP satisfaction officer,
why do you think they're not changing? One of the key pillars of both the Modi and Shah management style of electioneering is change the sitting MLAs or MPs. It reduces anti-incumbency.
Rahul, because in 2014 it was a caste community, very surcharged atmosphere because of Muzaffarnagar and others, and unpopular SP, BSP, Congress. But remember, the BJP created a bouquet of castes to create a picture for all seats. It was a very hard worked kind of an equation they created. Now they have perhaps the best possible candidate in that as far as the caste chemistry existing is concerned. Say for example, in a Machli Shahar or someplace, they picked up a Nishad. Now that Nishad community perhaps is critical that it does not displease the other OBCs or the Brahmins. They are not as antagonistic. So the equations haven't changed for the BJP, and that is why it is difficult, from having worked so hard to build a leader with all the perfect caste combination or perhaps the best possible, to actually replace him.
No, but
and
if you look back at the Amit Shah style of election management going all the way back to 2007 when he was very actively involved, and from there on, Amit Malviya, he is known to change candidates at a very high rate, bring in strong leaders from the outside, ensure that unpopular sitting candidates are weeded out, give tickets to fresh faces. The pick of the BJP so far has largely been a safe choice. Go with the tried and the tested rather than taking too many pangas. Why is that not in keeping with his general style of functioning? Amit Malviya, what do you make of this?
You know, Rahul, first of all, the question that you've posed, purely from a statistical point of view, does not quite lend too much of information to make an assessment one way or the other, because generally the level of disaffection or otherwise of a member of parliament is essentially a very localized phenomena. But I'll still try and make some sense of what you have said through your surveys. You see, you don't change candidates because you must change candidates or because there is a perception of the candidate being unpopular. There are several other factors that go into it, and organization strength is a very important one. I think if you look at Amit Shah and Prime Minister Modi's style of working, then you would also realize that there's a great deal of thrust on the organization structure as the fulcrum for electioneering. Now, in the previous segment, there was this debate about how 2019 is going to be different from 2004. And the essential difference between the two elections really is that the BJP today has a much formidable organization. And the second being that the welfare programs that Mr. Modi's government has run has endeared the poor and the marginalized to this government. Now that put together with the organization, I think a lot of these concerns around
so since 2004 and 2019 has been mentioned twice over, let me ask Sanjay Kumar first and then Sandeep Shastri, are there parallels? Because the overriding narrative was India is shining, Vajpayee is the most popular leader we've had since Indira Gandhi, and then lo behold, Sonia Gandhi, who was unheralded, won. What are the similarities? What are the dissimilarities?
There are two similarities, but a big dissimilarity between 2004 and 2019. Similarities: Vajpayee was a popular Prime Minister at that time. Prime Minister Modi at this time is also very popular. But we should not forget the big dissimilarity. Congress, when went into 2004 elections, Congress had 28.5% votes in its kitty. So Congress was pretty strong at that time in terms of vote percentages. Look at what is the status of Congress at this moment in terms of support base. When Congress goes into 2019 election, Congress is less than 20% votes, it's 19.6. With 28% vote, if you make a swing, if there is a swing of 2 or 3%, you can keep converting lots of seats. That's not going to happen in 2019. Even if Congress adds 6% votes, it can only end up giving Congress 75-80 seats.
Sandeep Shastri, 2004 versus 2019, what are the similarities, what are the dissimilarities?
I would endorse all that Sanjay Bhai just now said, but add one point. We are missing out the fact that in 2004, 3 vital states made the difference. And those 3 states are Tamil Nadu, the United Andhra Pradesh and Maharashtra. These 3 states, which had done very well for the BJP in 1999, did not do well for the BJP in 2014, and there lies the story of the defeat of the BJP and the NDA and the success of the UPA. So to what Sanjay Bhai said, I would just add this one point. Rahul, permit me to make one more point. In our discussion on the popularity of the MPs, we are assuming that ruling party MPs would have an advantage and opposition party MPs would not have an advantage. I think it's important to keep in mind that people's perception of the popularity of a member of parliament depends on what they think he or she has done at the ground level and not so much in terms of what they have done in the Lok Sabha.
Sure.
So in Kerala, in Andhra Pradesh, in Telangana, the feeling amongst the members, among the people, that the member of parliament has been effective at the ground. So I think it's important not to confuse the popularity of a member of parliament with the ruling party or the opposition. I don't think that has a factor at all. It is more with the work that the people perceive them to have done.
Yashwant Deshmukh, 2004 versus 2019.
It's no comparison whatsoever.
Why?
No comparison for a simple reason. You see, I mean, one of the biggest thing is that 2004 the Congress became an SLP, you know, and that was a critical thing. As Sanjay Bhai said that, you know, from 28 to take a small swing and try to become 150, it was a different thing than what they are trying right now. Second thing, 50 plus seats of the left front. Right now, it's not even 5 seats in any of the tracker. You know, that were coming as a default to add to the Congress kitty and propel them to the center stage. That is not happening. And just to add one more point, you see, I understand Mr. Jha's point that, you know, the net approval rating, why are you adding the somewhat satisfied to satisfied? Well, you know what, the same formula is applied for Mr. Rahul Gandhi's satisfaction rating as well. And what do we get? Even after applying the same formula, his net satisfaction is in the early 30s or late 20s, you know, somewhere between 28 to 32 between the tracker. And Mr. Modi is traveling between 55 to 65.
Sure.
So that kind of a gap was not there in 2004. Mrs. Sonia Gandhi's approval rating, even while passive, were not negative or bad, you know, in that
I want
way.
to now, in the last part of this broadcast, focus on states where MPs are perceived as being least popular. This is interesting because some of those states will show that MPs there are in for a very tough time. Right at the top is Puducherry, but that's a very small state. Immediately after that is Tamil Nadu, where 76%, this is one of the big takeaways from our show this evening, 76% of the respondents in Tamil Nadu say they don't like their MP, they are not satisfied with the work that they've done. It means that most of the MPs are from the AIADMK, which means that these MPs are sunk. Every data pointer suggests that the AIADMK has acute levels of anti-incumbency to deal with. Then there is Bihar. Now this is interesting because a lot of these MPs are BJP MPs or NDA MPs. Despite that, Bihar comes in our tracker at number 3 when people say they don't like what the MP has done. Then there is Delhi. Again in Delhi, voters don't like their MPs, which is interesting because the BJP has 7 MPs here. Voters don't like, generally speaking, what they've done. Then there is Uttar Pradesh, where, as Yashwant Deshmukh pointed out, the popularity of the PM is very high, but the popularity of these MPs not so. There is Punjab, where 61% say they don't like their MPs. Then there is Chhattisgarh, where 59% are saying they don't like their MPs. Then in Orissa, they don't like their MPs, and this could be advantage BJP because most of the MPs are BJD MPs at this time. Then there is Jharkhand, where clearly there will be a problem because you've got a strong opposition alliance. Last time the BJP did well in Jharkhand, this time people don't like their MPs. They don't like their MPs in Maharashtra either. And the fact is the Shiv Sena and the BJP have been fighting in the way that they have. It's only inevitable that voters are not satisfied with what's going on. Voters don't like the MPs in Haryana, where the BJP swept and dominated in a big way. They don't like the MPs in Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat either, which is problematic because it means that unless you shake things up amongst MPs in Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh, people don't like the MPs. Sanjay Kumar, your key takeaways on the states where MPs are least popular.
No, I won't like to focus on any particular state, but I would like to focus on this data point itself. You ask a question about any functionaries who is closer to the person, who's closer to the voter. Prime Minister, people would look at Prime Minister only
on TV,
in the TV, etc. They would have ever meet Prime Minister. MPs,
you're saying it's tough to be an MP in India.
Yeah, tough to be a representative, public representative, an elected representative. It's not easy. You are tested every day whenever somebody approaches you. So the point I am trying to make, in every state we are seeing very high level of dissatisfaction with the sitting MP. That doesn't mean that, and in most of the states, because BJP had 282 seats, 272 seats. So large number of them will belong to BJP. Do we conclude that BJP is losing in all the states? I don't conclude.
No, of course not. But I think
it's a perfect storm, Rahul. You know, when you look into the incumbencies building up anger against the MP, and if the anger is against the state government as well of the same party. Anger is against the sitting chief minister as well. And I mean, you know, if the parties are the same at every level of governance, then the cumulative anti-incumbency word becomes very strong.
Amit Malviya, the three problems of concern from the perspective of the BJP. Uttar Pradesh, your MPs are not popular. Bihar, your MPs are not popular. Delhi, your MPs are not popular. Taken together, that's concern, because these are states that you did really well, even though Delhi is a relatively smaller state. But if your MPs aren't popular, it means you're basically putting the entire onus on Narendra Modi that aap hi jaake match bajao, hamare MPs to kuch nahi kar pa rahe.
You know, Rahul, it's not as simple as that. And also, there's no denying the fact that the Prime Minister remains the most popular leader today in the political firmament. But as far as the MPs are concerned, and as far as the disaffection that you are showing is concerned, it's only natural, you know, because there's always a certain constituency which would have expected them to do better. The answer to that is perhaps have a situation where some of them are reshuffled, some of them are dropped, and also the fact that sometimes people do reconcile to the fact that they must elect somebody because they wish to see Mr. Modi as the Prime Minister. So all these factors are going to be at play, and in no way it means that this is going to be something that will weigh heavily on the fortunes of the BJP, because there are several other indicators that you put out in your program which seem to suggest that there is a very positive, vibrant mood in favor of the BJP and Prime Minister Modi. And elections at the end of the day are a mix of a lot of these things coming together.
Okay. Sanjay Jha, from the Congress's perspective, the fact that AIA-DMK MPs are very unpopular in Tamil Nadu could mean good news for the UPA, where the DMK and the Congress alliance could score some gains. Punjab could suggest some good news. Chhattisgarh MPs of the BJP being as unpopular could suggest some good news. But net, and I think that's the point that Sanjay Kumar makes, that you are starting from such a low base that you can't compare 2019 with 2004. That time you were at about 28%. Now you started about 20. Even if you gain a few percentage votes, it doesn't immediately start translating into seats. The asking rate, the electoral asking rate for the Congress to be able to overtake the BJP in this election is virtually insurmountable. You need to do a Sachin Tendulkar at Sharjah, the famous sandstorm innings, single-handedly somehow win. That only happens in cricket, it happens in miracles. Will it happen in an election?
They need hard hitter on both the ends.
Sanjay used to be a cricket writer earlier. Let's see what he comes up with.
Rahul, let me answer you very quickly. Actually, your survey is very telling. Your survey is very telling. I'll tell you why. Number one, it clearly manifests that the BJP is going to head for a spectacular rout in the south. Even where you're showing Narendra Modi as being allegedly popular, the MPs are not. So it neutralizes any advantage that possibly they hope to get. And I think that is a very significant finding. Point number three, please don't ignore the reality that there are very, very popular MPs who have begun to leave the BJP. And that is telling you which way the wind is blowing, whether it's Kirti Azad, whether it's Shatrughan Sinha now, whether it's Nana Patole, Savitri Bhai Phule, they are all very formidable leaders. And you know, you can make out the sense that the ground reality has begun to shift. And I want to answer the point of Sanjay Kumar because I totally disagree with that. I'll tell you why. Let me give you a statistical response. The Congress came down to 19.6%. He's absolutely right. But Sanjay Kumar, we also know that the BJP in 2009 was lesser than the Congress. It had around 18.5%. Yes. It moved from 18.5% lower than the Congress, and I thought that was the worst we could have possibly got with the negative publicity and Narendra Modi's hysterical campaigning, and the BJP was lesser, moved to 31. Now, if there is an anti-incumbency, you don't know how far low BJP is going to actually come down. So let's talk about that, you know, when we actually, you know, when we confront the reality. But I want to make one point here. Is governance, Rahul. The reason why Narendra Modi and Amit Shah keep dropping MPs is because it obviously means they have failed. That means they have not met up to public expectations. And a politician is in a career for a long haul. I don't think any MP likes to be dropped off, right?
Words very
and the reason why they drop the guy off because they know he doesn't. He hasn't done anything.
There is some traction to the fact that when people like Nana Patole, Shatrughan Sinha, Kirti Azad leave, these are strong leaders at a local level. When they leave, they take a bit of the equity with them. But the BJP's also got lots of people coming in. You know, the likes of Jaya Prada coming in. They suddenly turned Rampur into some kind of a contest where Azam Khan would have otherwise swept. So the BJP has had lots of inflow and outflow both.
See, but Rahul, there is a problem that a lot of people who have left had won their seats. The people who are coming are hoping to win the seats, and there is a bit of difference in that. If you see the least popular for the BJP, where the real challenge lies, is that in somewhere within that state where the BJP did very well or didn't, somewhere things have happened which have taken the things away from the BJP. UP, not popular MPs, but a grand alliance has come up. Punjab, the Congress has done very well compared to the last election. You got Chhattisgarh, where the Congress did very well. Orissa is perhaps a hope for BJP. Jharkhand, again, better alliances. Maharashtra, Congress, NCP are coming together. The alliance looked better, definitely better than what the BJP and Shiv Sena after 5 years of divorce actually have been. Unpopular government in Haryana. I think in a lot of these states, the reflection could also be because people are thinking that somebody is a better option than the one they have today.
So, this is where we're wrapping up this broadcast. I want to thank all our guests for joining us on this edition of the Political Stock Exchange. When I come back next with the PSC, I'll have something very, very important. What has been the impact of Rahul Gandhi's minimum income guarantee program, the NDA scheme? Is it tracking? Is it likely to be a game changer? Is it getting some resonance from voters? How do people perceive NDA? How does this compare with Balakot, the airstrike? So this is the first poll we'll have after Rahul Gandhi announced that 12,000 rupees will go into the bank accounts of the poorest of the poor. How do they perceive this promise? What do they make of it? Tune in to the next edition of the Political Stock Exchange. For the time being, from all of us here at the Data Intelligence Unit of the India Today Group, thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you would love to.